This is how we get down. What's good, everybody? And Merry Christmas to everybody out there in the BTT Studios universe, in the Coach and Company universe. We are not on demand. No, we are live on YouTube and on social media. Why? Because Christmas Day has become one of the tentpole sports days of the entire year. It used to be dominated by the NBA. No longer. Now it's the NBA and it's the NFL. So today there are 3 NFL games. It starts with the Cowboys and the Commanders at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And then you got 5 NBA games. Great matchups, great prop bets, great totals. And we're going to talk about all of them. Then at the end of the show, we have, because my guy Raphael is an absolute degenerate, we have some cross-sport bets that are just fun. And we're going to look at probably anywhere from 6 to 8 that you can sink your teeth into. And I think that you'll enjoy quite a bit. So we got a lot to get to. While everybody else is still sleeping, everybody else is unwrapping their presents and putting us on, maybe audio only, maybe video only. Who knows? But we're here, and we're excited to be here. So without further ado, it's time to beat the books. All right, look who's the only person who got up this morning. What a shock. What a shock. Now, this is the time, Raphael, where you really see who's into it and who just wants to let everybody else do the work. Would you say that's fair?
I would say that's fair. What do you mean get up? I've been up.
I mentioned those cross. First and foremost, I got to give you a proper introduction. There's a lot of people out there that are brand new. They're just checking us out right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's our numbers guy for a reason. Say good morning to Raphael Esparza. Good morning, Merry Christmas, Raphael. Now you may continue.
Good morning, Coach. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to your family. Merry Christmas to everyone in the brand and the BTT family as well. It should be a great Christmas day because we have 3 NFL games and a whole bunch of NBA games. I'm pretty excited for this Christmas. We have some nice matchups, including the NFL. I'm very interested in some of these games in the NFL.
I am too. And when they made the schedule last April, these matchups on paper, you can never predict. And they look like, well, these will be matchups that have playoff implications. Some do, some barely do, and then some do not. But that doesn't mean we can't find value. And that doesn't mean there aren't players with incentives. It doesn't mean that there's not players that want to go out there and perform. So I kind of lean the last 2 weeks into player props more than I do spreads in games, depending on the game. What about you?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Player prop bets is a really good profitable, especially today. But there's also some scenarios that could come into play with some teams that maybe looked bad last week that want to maybe erase that bad loss they had. So I think both can mix today. But Sunday's games, I think there's more incentives on player prop bets because I was overlooking Sunday's games due to some players. There's some really good value on Sunday's player props.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I do want to shout out some people in the chat. Texas Joel, D. Johnson, Helen's Calvo, John. You guys are up right at the start of the show, man. We can't do this without you. We're coming up on a year. January 27th will be a year for this brand. So you guys are absolutely amazing. And then on the Coach and Bro side, it's absolutely exploding over there. By the way, guess who's in the chat, Raphael?
I know. He's been all over social media last night, but congratulations to him.
I feel like I need to give a very classic Coach and Company. What are you doing? With a congratulations on the back end. Would that be fair? Would that be fair?
That's perfect. Perfect.
Oh man, if you guys didn't see it, one of the important members of our team, Mikey P, who has not been on the show this entire week, he lost his voice from the Bears win last week. He got engaged last night. And Raphael, how many years have you been married?
Seems like yesterday. What a bad day yesterday was. But 25 years, Coach.
I thought you were going to say it feels like forever. But no, congratulations. Lady C, as we affectionately call her, has kept him on the straight and narrow. So it's a really, really good thing. And apparently, Lady C is in the chat. So, Lady C, congratulations to
Congratulations,
you.
Lady C.
He even had like a video as part of the. I feel like we should have broken down from a handicapping perspective the actual engagement.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to do that at some point because he had a video, but then I think he got a little bit nervous and just went down on one knee with no there was no speech. So I take a little bit off for that, but the video was good. So I feel like we need to break it down maybe on a premium pop-up in the next couple of weeks. You think?
Oh, I think so because I want to know what was actually going inside his head. Because I know when I did it, I was a complete mess, and as my wife says, I was the biggest jerk that night because I was nervous. I was trying to figure out where I was going to put the ring at, what side of the pocket. It was a complete mess.
I'm embarrassed to even admit this. However, I got engaged at a very popular steakhouse I mean, this is years and years ago. My daughter's 17 now. But do you know what an udder is?
Yeah.
All right. So in Iowa, it's like the meat capital. So they had a steakhouse. It was a nice steakhouse called Udders. That was the name of the steakhouse. And that's where I got engaged all those years ago. So when you tell the story, I usually don't put the name of the restaurant with it because it's kind of embarrassing that there's even a restaurant called Udders, to be honest. And they're still in business today.
Oh, they
In
still are.
fact, my kids are there. My kids are in Iowa right now. So, all right, we've got a lot to get to, Raphael. We're going to start. So we're going to split the sports up today. So we've got each one of us has a best bet from every single game today. And we're going to start with the NFL, and then we're going to go to the NBA, and then we're going to finish the show with our cross sports bets that are just fun that we're going to look into. Fair?
Sure.
All right. So let's start with our 3 NFL best bets, and I'm going to give you the floor. Where are you headed today?
First one, Dallas and Washington. Give me George Pickens, wide receiver 1 for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm over 5.5 receptions. He's hit this number 6 out of his last 8 games. His last game against the Chargers, he had 7 receptions. So I think he has a big game. First game in the NFL, we should see a lot of points. I think that's going to be the trend in all sports today. A lot of points being scored. Second play, Lions, Vikings, first half over 21.5. I think the Lions can do this themselves. They are very PO'd for losing that home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just think this one's going to go really over really quickly. I think the Lions put a butt whooping on the Vikings. So give me the first half over 21.5. And then give me the Broncos Chiefs. Kareem Hunt over 17.5 rushing yards. Coach, I was doing deep dive in this. 15 games this year. He's hit this 12 times. I was shocked that he did that. His last game hit 24.5. I'm a little bit shocked that it still was 17.5 and hasn't moved since they posted this problem. I think this is a Christmas gift because you know the Broncos are going to run the ball.
Yeah, it feels that way. But also, I was looking at the over-under on amount of fans that are going to be inside Arrowhead Stadium today. Because I got a text earlier this morning that it holds about 80,000. They're expecting maybe a little bit more than half.
Whew.
It's an 8 o'clock game, unseasonably warm. I'm actually flying to Kansas City on Saturday to see my parents and my family. And so it's been pretty warm, but the Chiefs have been out of the playoffs for 2 weeks now. And you're talking about a fan base that is very, very used to going not just to the playoffs, but to the Super Bowl or to the AFC Championship. So they're in their feelings right now. Big time. Big time. So we'll get into that game coming up. All right, let's do my best bets. And it's amazing when you got, in my book, there's 138 different bets you can make. And me and Raphael picked the same guy, which is incredible to me. George Pickens over 78.5 receiving yards. He went north of 100 last week. And I think he's at the point, even though the Cowboys are out of the playoffs, he wants to prove that he can also be that wide receiver 1 for the Cowboys and not just CeeDee Lamb. And I feel like CeeDee Lamb, without putting a label on him, is a guy that when it really matters, he shows up. But when you get to the games that don't really matter, how much does it matter to him? That's my question. I think with George Pickens, he's a different kind of player in that way because he's a lot about himself. Then in game number 2, Lions and the Vikings, you're like, who is Max Brosner? Well, that's a very good question. He's the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. You can't make it up. and we're going under 181 and a half passing yards minus 115. If he gets to 200 yards passing, I will tip my cap. There is no chance on God's green earth that this dude, I couldn't even tell you what college he plays at, Rafa. Do you know where he went to college?
No, I was going to do that today, and I totally forgot to look at what college he went to. Because I agree, if he does 200, hats off. If he does 200, they win the game.
They do. I know. That's exactly right. The last week, I want to real quick. So last week he came in relief and against the Giants, a game they won 16-13. But Rav, he was 7 for 9 for 52 yards last week. McCarthy was 9 for 14. I almost went with attempts. I almost went with the under in attempts. I didn't. The only reason I didn't is because they're out of the playoff race, but I don't know how they're going to coach the game. That we'll get into that. So my last one, and you're like, who is this guy? Well, that's the Chiefs quarterback today, Chris Oladokun, and we now have Mahomes and Minshew out with torn ACLs, and Rafael Oladokun went to South Dakota State, which I believe is still a Division I AA, I think. So I'm going to go under 28 and a half longest completions. My gut tells me, Ref, that the Broncos are going to be bringing the heat early and often. So a lot of the passes are going to be quick to the outside, quick hitches to Kelsey. If Kelsey even wants to play. Last week, he didn't even show up. I don't even know if Kelsey has any motivation at this point. But to me, there's not going to be one pass that goes over 20 yards today. So I love fading the longest completion for Chris Oladokun. I've let it go,
You
Rav.
think he
I've
wears
let
two
it go.
knee? You think he wears two knee braces today? Because yeah, knee injuries for Kansas City quarterbacks have been going down. I'm like,
oh my gosh. All right. We'll get back. So we'll do our NBA best bets in a little bit, but let's break down these three NFL games right now. Game number one, Cowboys and the Commanders. Now, this one is a full 10 points, and which is a little crazy to me. But when you don't know who's playing, the Commanders also have gone through multiple quarterbacks, and the Cowboys, Raphael, I looked up this stat, which is crazy. First 30 this year is Super Bowl 60. So the first 30 Super Bowls, 16 times the Cowboys played in it. The last 30, 0 times. Since January 1996, the Cowboys have not made it to the NFC Championship game, let alone the Super Bowl. So what kind of motivation can the Cowboys have today? Also, you're laying 10. What do we do?
I mean, I'm going to say the Cowboys coaching staff did a really good job this year. Everyone made fun of their coaching staff, thinking, oh, they picked the wrong guy. So I still think this team is motivated to win games. Dak Prescott said he's going to play no matter what. I think so. The Pickens, you mentioned it. What's CD? I'm more concerned about what's CD Lamb's mental game for the next couple of games. I think Pickens and Prescott will still show up. I like Dallas, but that's a big number. I can see Washington maybe kicking a late field goal, losing by 6 or something like that. I do like the over. I think we see a lot of points scored on this one because you mentioned there's a lot of Cowboys on the offense have incentives that they're really close to getting. I think the offense is going to put some points on the board.
And that's always been kind of the problem when you talk about the Cowboys is they have a lot of high-priced players, but they don't have a great team. And that's what Jerry Jones has always been criticized for is he can identify talent, but sometimes you got to have guys like Taysom Hill or a guy like just a glue guy, but not a sexy. They've got a lot of sexy guys. Dak, sexy. CeeDee Lamb, sexy. George Pickens, sexy. But what about everything else? What about the defense? All that kind of stuff. They just haven't been a good football team for a very, very long time. Now, last week, Prescott did throw for 2 touchdowns in 244 yards, but they got beat, Raf, by 17 points at home to the LA Chargers. And when you're losing by 17 with really no energy whatsoever, I have an issue with that. Do we know? Can you name the starting quarterback today on the other side to try to counteract the Commanders last week lose 29-18 to the Eagles at home? Do you know who the quarterback for the Washington Commanders is?
Isn't it Josh Johnson tonight? Isn't it?
It is.
Or this afternoon, not tonight.
It is Josh Johnson. This dude is kind of like Chase Daniels. Somehow he has stayed in the league for over 10 years. and now he's getting a start in week 17. Week
17.
17, yeah. So with that being said, he was 5 for 9, 43 yards a week ago. Mariota has kind of been the guy with Jaden Daniels in and out. Now Daniels is out with an injury. Mariota is out. So when you've got your third string quarterback, do you let it fly because he's a veteran, or do you keep it very close to the vest?
Oh, you let it fly. You have nothing to lose. What's a win or a dub or loss in this game for Washington? So now you want to see what other players have. The wide receivers, especially the offensive linemen. There's two new starters coming in the offensive line, so you want to see how they are. So I think Washington just lets it fly. That's why I can see Washington covering this game.
Okay. Helen Sound Calvo. I'm going to say H. I'm going to call him HC in the chat. It's too hard to say the name, but we appreciate you. He says Dallas shines today for the win. Okay. All right. So that's 1 o'clock Eastern today on Netflix. And last year, the experiment on Netflix was a resounding success. I believe it was over 25 million views on Netflix. So they have two games today. Game number 2, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's the Lions and the Vikings. And Raphael, you're my numbers guy. Can you tell me the percentage that the Detroit Lions have of making it to the playoffs with 2 games to go?
Isn't it like 6%? 6 or 8, I think it was.
6 to 9%. You are absolutely correct. So it's very simple for the Lions to make it. They've got to win both of their games, and the Packers have to lose both of their games. The tie, Raph, the tie is what's coming into play in this scenario. The Packers have it, and so the Lions, if they won their last 2, would have 10 wins, and the Packers are sitting on 9 right now. So it's crazy that the tie is what would potentially be the issue. So the Lions come in off a horrible last 2-minute scenario that an entire show could be spent on what happened to the Steelers. But the way that Jared Goff played against the Steelers was awful. I feel like the bloom is completely off the rose when it comes to the Dan Campbell era. And it may sound crazy, but I absolutely think that he is on the hot seat because of the way that he coaches. And now he's coached them right out of the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I looked at it totally different when I looked at this game. I just think, wow, Detroit, two-headed monsters in the backfield and had 15 yards of rushing against Pittsburgh. I think Detroit's going to run, run, run. I love David Montgomery today. I think his over-under 31 and a half rushing yards. I love Gibbs rushing and receiving. I think they're going to look at it like, hey, we had a horrible bad loss against Pittsburgh at home. Let's erase that one game at a time. We need to win both games. So what? Let's win this game and then think about next week's game next week. I think they really crush Minnesota. I think they score big on them.
So they couldn't have a more difficult road when you just look at it, because both of these games are on the road for them, at Minnesota today and then at Chicago. And Chicago right now is flying high. They're winning games in spectacular fashion. They are the fighting for the number 1 seed. And so Chicago's going to be very motivated next week. There's no doubt about it. So there's not going to be, hey, the Lions have it easy. I just wonder, when you're thinking about the prop side of things, I'm not touching the Viking side. Are you kidding me? A guy named Brosmer. Stop. In fact, my book, Raphael, when I went and looked at some of the props last night, the Vikings, there was none other than passing props. But none of my players had it because they don't know. If you're Justin Jefferson, are you like, what the hell is my life right now when I've got this guy passing me the ball and they're trying to get him to he's got that 1,000-yard streak going since the start of his career. He may have gotten it last week. But those are the little things that can be affected when you have a quarterback that has no experience.
Yeah, I think Detroit's defense wants to step up as well, because I think the Pittsburgh Steelers run wild on them last week. I don't know, Minnesota doesn't have the running game like Pittsburgh does, but this is when you sharpen up some stuff and think about next week's games as well. But if you're the Vikings and or the Lions and you know they play the Bears next week, what's the Bears mentality comes into that game if they lose to San Francisco this week because the Bears are in California?
I love that we're going to have a lot of meaningful games on week 18.
Yes.
The one thing over time, right, that drives me nuts is when you see a number, and if you don't really know, if you're just a casual, like, oh, the spread's 14, why? And you get a lot of those. But now the NFL, the schedule makers, I think they're trying to change it up to where there's more division games in the last 2 weeks. which would mean leading to more meaningful games. By the way, HC says they still love Dan Campbell in Michigan. Well, that might be the only place that they love Dan Campbell. If I was a Lions fan, I would be furious at this point. I would have given him his grace a couple of years ago when they should have won the NFC Championship, and he blew it by a lot of the decisions in that game against San Francisco. And it hasn't changed. So, how much do you think, if any, Raf, these last two games will matter when it comes to the future of Dan Campbell?
Oh, his seat is, in my eyes, lukewarm. But if he loses to the Vikings and then loses to the Bears, it's completely hot. I've been telling people there's two names that are hot seats part of the end of the season: Campbell and Harbaugh in Baltimore.
All right. So that game is at 4:30 Eastern time. Thank you. My gift yesterday, and we're going to do our last gift, which will kind of be we'll have our time at the end, as today is the 25th day to Coachmas. But we have had so many great moments. And my gift yesterday, Raphael, was to these streaming services. Because 10, 15 years ago, we didn't know what Amazon Prime was. We didn't know what Netflix was. And now we've got both that are carrying NFL games today. So the last game, I got to be honest, I may not even watch any of this game. And you know how diehard I am of a Chiefs fan. This game to a Chiefs fan is kind of like, it's a little dramatic, but kind of like watching a funeral, that you're just watching something that you know the end is not something that you want. And you're watching it because you're paying tribute to a team that has given us fans so much joy the last 10 years. And the last 2 weeks, devastating. Mahomes, torn ACL. Then you got Minshew, but then you've got no playoffs. You got Travis Kelce, who's kind of whimpering to the finish line. I don't know what his future is. I can't believe, Raph, that Kelce would want to go out this way with this season being his last. Let's start there. Do you think this is because this is the last home game? They're playing at Vegas next week. Is this the last home game for Travis Kelce?
A couple months ago, I would have said, yes, this would be his last game, but you just nailed it. Does he really want to go out with not his quarterback on the field with him? I think he plays one more year. I think he announces, this is my last year. Next year will be my last, no matter what. Super Bowl or no Super Bowl. 2026 would be my last, because I just don't think he wants to go out without his guy on the field with him and how he's played the last month. I just can't see him doing it.
Can you imagine locally? Because we don't see a lot of the local stuff. And I get it from my connect who still lives back there. But as beloved as he is, and Kansas City might be one of the only NFL cities where you can have a situation like this and still be beloved. I mean, when he retires and you look back at the totality of his career with Mahomes, you're going to say, man, thank you. But in the moment, there is frustration. In the moment of the year, there is frustration. And when you see Travis Kelce on the bench, or when you see him dropping a pass that ends the game like 2 weeks ago, it was him that dropped the pass of the game that eliminated them from the playoffs. And then you look at his numbers, Raph.
Yo, that's worse.
I mean, today, 37 and a half. You know, a lot of it's because of the quarterback, but he hasn't done anything, Raphael. Last week, this is kind of the bottom of the barrel. He had one catch for 6 yards last week against Tennessee. Raph. That he's a champion. One catch, 6 yards. It couldn't be any lower for him. And this should be the most joyous time of his life. He's engaged. He's never going to have to worry for anything ever again. He got his billionaire boo thing. Oh, that sounds cool. Billionaire boo thing. That's going to be my new thing for Taylor. So this should be like the greatest Christmas that he's ever had. But we know he's a competitor. I doubt that he's very happy today or even wants to play tonight, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I could think he doesn't want to play because his guy's not out there. He's catching passes. Not even Minshew's throwing it to him. Some other guy's throwing passes to him. And then you named it. One catch for 6 yards last week. You know that's still stuck in his head that he only had 6 yards with one catch. I want to ask you this question. What do you think he does next year?
I think he's going to have one more year because I think he would have announced it. I We know this with athletes, Raf, is you can't flip a switch. And when you start to lose your athleticism, when you start to lose the ability to cut quickly in this league, and all these young D backs are coming into the league that are super athletic at 22 years of age, he's been shut down a lot this year. He has not had a lot of big games for whatever reason. I think he gives it one more year. I'm hoping next year is not like this year, obviously. But I think one more year he announces before the season that he is going to be done. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, let's talk about the team that today does matter for in this game, and that is the Denver Broncos. And they're a team that has been really living on the edge the entire year. Almost every single win that they've had, and they're 12-3, they've trailed in. They've trailed in, and they've had some miraculous wins. The Colts game, they should not have won that one. But here's where they are. But they're coming off a big double-digit loss to Jacksonville in Denver, though. So tonight, everything matters. So the road to the number one seed for Denver looks like this. They got to win both games. Chiefs this week, Chargers next week, and then they need losses by the Pats, the Bills, and the Jags in some combination over the last 2 weeks. What should the Broncos' motivation be?
Win today, win tomorrow, because everything else is out of their control. And if they don't get that number one seed, they're going to look back and say, wow, that home game that we lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars is the reason why we're not playing at home in the playoffs. I think they're going to think about that. This game alone, we're going to hear probably all game long the Denver Broncos lead the league in sacks. They should feast on this game. But that's why I like the Kansas City running backs for attempts and yards. I think they're going to hand the ball off, not pass the ball. I did a lot of quick slants, screen passes. So I don't think the Broncos are going to get that much sacks. I do like Denver to win this game because win today, win tomorrow, and then think about the playoffs.
Yeah, that's exactly why I faded the longest completion, because I just don't think he's going to have enough time on that side of the ball, because I think the Broncos feel the same way that we feel, that the more pressure you put on a young quarterback out of South Dakota State, the better it's going to be for their defense. Offensively, looking at just last week, Bo Nix did throw for 352 yards. He does have it in him, but they trailed most of the game, so they were throwing a lot. Cortland Sutton had 86 yards. Harvey had 71. Franklin 66. So there's a few options, but nobody ever comes out. And I guess Sutton would be the guy. But if I am looking at this game, I'm not touching any props on the Denver side of things, because I think it's going to be super ugly. Maybe the total I would hit the under, but look how low that total is. I mean, when there's a 3 in front of it, that's hard to play it. This just seems like a yuck game to me. And if you're the Broncos, get in and get out. Yes?
I agree. The total just moved to 36 while you were talking.
Oh,
A couple books. We could see someone. I forgot what book told me last night. Anywhere between 35 to 35 and a half as the closing number in this game. I'm leaning towards a surprise. This is Christmas. This is Christmas evening. Maybe we see points scored in this game. I'm not saying the most points scored in this game, but I actually like Kansas City team total over 10 and a half at even money.
oh my God. I don't know if Denver's ever been a 13.5 point road favorite over the Chiefs, maybe ever in the history of time. And that's what the number is today. That's crazy.
I think it's too big of a number because I think they're going to hold. I mean, Denver wants to win and escape injury. So I think if they're up by, let's say, 10, and I don't think they're just going to hand the ball off and tell the running back, if you get touched, just fall down.
Can you imagine the sweat if you choose to bet on this game? Do it at your own risk. Do it at your own risk, because it could be a fun sweat. But if I need the Chiefs, say the Chiefs are sitting on 10, say it's 17-10, Raf, and I need a drive to tie the game or win the game with, let me check my notes, Chris Oladokun. Do you think I'm going to feel good about that? No, I'm not going to feel good about that. All right, those are the 3 games today, 2 on Netflix and 1 on Amazon Prime. All right, let's go back to our pick screen, because normally before the last couple of years, Christmas Day has been all about the NBA. And today we got 5 games, some incredible matchups. I absolutely love every single one of these games today. I really, really do. So let's look at our best bets for the NBA. And once again, I will give you the floor.
Before I announce my picks, you know who's the winner of the Kansas City Denver Broncos game? The
Who?
NBA. Because there's some really good evening games in the NBA. The Lakers,
There
Denver,
are.
Minnesota. So you know that it's turning everyone in the NBA like, woohoo! Thank you, Kansas City. They're gonna be watching us, not you. So they're the winners of that game. That should have been my best bet. NBA in the evening game.
No doubt. No doubt.
But the first bet is the Cavs Knicks. Knicks first half over 115.5. I love the even money on this one. Knicks on Christmas, their last game on Christmas, they scored 123 or 129 points against the Bucks. You know what they did in the first half? They had 62 points in that game. I think we're going to see a lot of points scored in the first half between the Cavs and Knicks. And Cavs, what a great dancing partner to have a big game as the NBA. This total will probably go over as well. Spurs OKC. Boy, I can't wait to watch this game. This has been a fun 2 games already this season. Now we get a third one, but I like the Aaron Fox for the Spurs over 22.5 points and assists. December 13th at OKC, he had 22 points and 5 assists. He was a big key factor on this game. I think he's going to be a big key factor to keep the Spurs hanging around. And can they beat OKC again? Is a great storyline in itself. Third game, Mavs Warriors. Klay Thompson. Yes. Raise your hand if you still thought that he was in the league. I forgot that he was still playing, but I like Klay Thompson over 12.5 points and rebounds. He's coming back home to Golden State on Christmas. You don't think he wants a good game on Christmas on the limelight? His last game against the Pelicans, he had 25 points and rebounds. I think he has a good game at his own playground. Houston, LA. First quarter, 55.5. Why? Because defense is questionable in this game. So I love a lot of points. This one, I think this one has the most points in the NBA today. So I like the Lakers, Houston game, first quarter over 55.5. Lakers last 10 games, their D's giving up 122 points a game. Whew, that's crazy. And then Wolves, Nuggets. The last game with big men running up and down the court. We got Rudy Gobert versus the Joker. I like Rudy Gobert over 21.5 points and rebounds. He is playing some of his best ball this year that no one is talking about. He has hit this prop 4 straight games in 6 out of 7. The Joker says he hates the play against Rudy Gobert.
Well, he's long. He's annoying. He may be my most hated player in the league that I don't know why I hate him. Like I have no reason for it. I just, when you watch him, you're like, God, I just don't like that guy.
People hate him because of the COVID thing. Remember COVID when he started touching? I think that's probably maybe surpassed him over Draymond at that time.
Maybe he gave. I remember. I mean, I think to this day, Donovan Mitchell will not talk to him because of COVID. Because he was the one sitting next to him. He got COVID because of who knows. A lot of misinformation back then. A lot. All right. So those are the best bets for Rafael. What about me? So
right at the hottest NBA capper right now. Now he's going with his plays.
I mean, you said it, Raph. You said it. I mean, right now I am red hot when it comes to the NBA. In fact, I believe I'm, without question, the hottest capper at our show. Without question.
I went 2-0 yesterday, Coach. I might be nipping up on you. I went 2-0 yesterday.
Yeah, I like the competition. You can bring it. Like, if we both win, that's great for everybody. But I love my plays today. In fact, you and I agreed on this one because we both wanted it. The Knicks team total over 122.5. Depending on what book you have, some places have 121.5. That's even better. This is probably the limit. But the Cavs, the last several games, they've given up 118 to the Pelicans. That's kind of like 140 to anybody else. 132 to the Hornets. 136 and 127 to the Bulls. So you're getting my point. The Cavs love to play up speed or high speed. I can't even talk this morning. But they give up a lot of points. And at home, there's going to be a ton of energy in Madison Square Garden. The Christmas Day game, you get a ton of celebrities. They love to come out. Everybody's wearing a Santa hat. It's going to be absolutely awesome. A ton of points today, and I like this team total. Then in the second game, and I don't know why the NBA did this, but the Spurs and Thunder just played 2 nights ago. So they're doing a lot of this during the season. I don't know why they did it for a Christmas Day game, but this is the matchup we wanted. And the Spurs just bounced the Thunder. So give me the total 232.5. They just scored 240 on Tuesday night. So I love this minus 108. Then Rockets and the Lakers. Don't sleep on Houston this year. Houston with Kevin Durant, they're going to be a problem when they get to the postseason. I like them just to win on the court today. Luka didn't play in their last game. Hachimura didn't play in their last game. And J.J. Redick called his squad out. They gave up 132 to the Phoenix Suns. And I think the Rockets come in today because you got to understand that Christmas energy that teams play with is very real. And this Rockets team, they want to show the entire world when they have the entire audience to themselves just exactly how good they are. So I love them on the money line today just to win the game. Then Mavs and the Warriors. Now, don't worry, guys. Draymond Green, Steve Kerr, they've made up. They're all good. But it doesn't mean their team is good. And this is a situation where a team can sneak up on you and the books haven't caught up yet. The Mavs are playing really, really good basketball. They just beat the Nuggets and scored 131 in the process. The Nuggets are much better than the Golden State Warriors, in my opinion. So you're going to give me 8 points? 8 points with an ascending Cooper Flag? I'll take that all day. And then the last game tonight, I'm going to go to the under. When the Minnesota Timberwolves are playing really good basketball, they don't score a lot of points. The Nuggets, very much a good dance partner. I just think the T-Wolves will play really good defense, specifically in the second half, and I think this game goes under 239. So, Raphael, let's jump in game by game. This has become a tradition now in the NBA that New York gets the first game, the Knicks get the first game, but you now have a Knicks team that needs to get going. They're kind of stumbling a little bit. They're not playing fantastic basketball. They're still in the top 4, but I think today could be a statement game for the Knicks, or needs to be.
Yeah, just because of Cleveland's shorthanded, no Mobley, they've been a different team since he's been out. He's out probably a couple more weeks, so that shortens the Cleveland bench. Which last year their bench was such a big key for their success. Now with him out, this is a great spot for the Knicks to show everyone on Christmas morning, hey, we're at home. We're gonna turn things around. I like Brunson's points, rebounds, and assists tonight. I think the Knicks have an easy win against Cleveland.
Very interesting. I do want to answer a question from the chat, Raphael, because we're all about the fans. Brian says, Coach, why are you working on Christmas? Brian, let me explain to you a leader mentality, a winner's mentality. And in this media space, and Raphael will echo this, that if you sit back and you go, oh, it's a holiday, so we don't do a show. And if you're one of those shows, that's great. But what we believe here at BTT Studios with all of our shows is that the grind is real. There are 8 games today that everybody's going to watch. So, Raphael, why would we not be here for 30 minutes or an hour? And then we have the entire day to hang out with whoever we want to hang out with. But to me, the question is not why are we working on Christmas Day? The question is, why wouldn't we be working on Christmas Day?
I love working today because we have some really good matchups in both
Yeah.
the NFL and Christmas. So why wouldn't I want to put my 2 cents and maybe help someone either win a bet or help someone enjoy a game with my knowledge of what I've seen in sports books for almost 30 years? I love working today.
It really is. When I was at ESPN, it's kind of a funny story. I would always volunteer because at ESPN, you get what they call 2 comp days if you work a holiday. So if you work today, then you could get 2 days off somewhere down the road whenever you wanted to. And you had to use them within 3 months, I believe. So what I would do is I would volunteer to do the nighttime sports center. So I'd be home with my kids, family, all day. And by 4 or 5 o'clock, what is everybody doing? You guys act like Christmas all day is you're doing nothing by 4 or 5 o'clock, literally nothing. So I would go in, and one of the years we did like a Santa photo shoot, and my kids got to be the 2 kids on Santa's lap
Oh,
at
nice.
ESPN. It was awesome. So I loved it because imagine doing Sports Center tonight, Raph, and you're doing all of these highlights for all these games. How much fun is that?
Yeah.
It's a ton of
Not
fun.
like you, I hate to be the guy that had to work Christmas Eve when you only had the Hawaii Bowl to cut stuff or talk about.
Ooh, no doubt, no doubt. All right, so I think we both agree that the Knicks get it done today. I don't like that number at 5.5, so I think I'm going to stick with our team totals. It's a really good way to go about it if you're not sure of a really high total as well. Now, game number 2. This could be, Raph, a preview of the Western Conference Finals. I think the Spurs right before our very eyes with a lot of young players. There are 2 or 3 players that a lot of people don't know about that are becoming absolute superstars. The athleticism on this basketball team is incredible. They just scored 130 to beat the Thunder 2 nights ago. How do you see this one going today?
I love this game because it's all about the NBA youth movement on both sides of the ball in this one. And I can't. This was a teeter totter. Who's going to win this or who's going to cover this game? It's a big number. Two books just moved OKC to 10. I don't understand why would you bet 9.5 or 10 when you just saw what the San Antonio Spurs did to OKC, not one game, but 2 games this year. They're a great dance partner on both. I think we're going to see a lot of points scored on this one. But if this keeps on climbing, I might have to take the Spurs plus the points on this one because they're not afraid of OKC. I see some teams look afraid because how deep they are. The Spurs are like, bring it.
The Thunder are 26-4. 2 of those losses are against the San Antonio Spurs. And to be specific, one was 2 nights ago, 130 to 110, and they also beat them on December 13th. So in the last 2 weeks, they've beaten them twice. Now, they're on a 4-game winning streak also, Raphael. They've scored 130, 124, 126, and 119. This team, and Wemby, for a couple of those games, was coming off the bench. And so can you imagine? You start the game, they're firing all cylinders, then all of a sudden, in comes Wemby? It may be crazy to say, but they might be a better team with him coming off the bench. He may not want to, but that might be where they can spread out their team the most. Is that crazy?
Yeah, Spurs and the Pelicans are almost looking at it the same way with Zion coming off the bench and Wemby coming off the bench because now you have a fresh big guy on both of them, Wemby and Zion, in the second half. They can play as many minutes as they want in the end of the third and the start of the fourth quarter. I think it's brilliant for both teams who are like, you know what, our guys are maybe injury prone or stuff like that. Let's bring them off the bench so they're energized in the second half where we need them.
And you can see the total. When I put in my best bets, it was like an hour and a half ago. You can already see where the total has moved to.
Yeah.
It's certainly not going down, is it? It's at 234.5 right now. What do you think would be a safe? I still feel comfortable at 234.5. What do you think would be too high for it to go to?
I would say 235 is maybe I would say maybe look at maybe playing unders, but don't forget, this is at OKC, and you're going to get a lot of free throws at the end of the game. So I do believe it's going to be a close game. And what it does to the total, it pushes it over. I can see SGA shooting 20 free throws today, and Fox is a good free throw shooter on the other side as well.
Yeah, it's a good point. They've lost 3 of 5. The Thunder, and you knew it was coming. This whole nonsense of we want to win more than the Warriors. Come on, it's not going to happen. All right, game number 3, and this is a team that's ascending. You know, I played the Mavs the other day in the total with the Nuggets. I believe it was 239. They went into the 260s. So Cooper Flagg is starting to play like a number 1 pick. He had 33 against Denver. He's the youngest player to score 40. He's already done that, and he just turned 19 on December 21st. 19. He's supposed to be a college freshman right now. And then you've got the Golden State Warriors who are a mess. Do you know what I heard last night, Raph, that I thought, this might be kind of cool. I don't think it would ever happen, but the way the Warriors are playing right now and the way the Hornets are playing right now. I watched the Hornets beat the Wizards. It was so much fun. Their team has so many young kids. Knepel had 5 more threes. And they said, why don't the Warriors send Steph Curry back home for the final year or 2 of his career to North Carolina, where he's from, where he played his college basketball? I don't know that he would ever do that, but wouldn't that be something if it did happen?
It would, because I'm hearing from Charlotte that they're gonna dangle Ball because they think Knipple is gonna be the face of that team and not
Wait. You
Balls.
said they're gonna dangle balls for the.
No,
LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo.
My bad. Continue.
They're gonna dangle a mellow ball to and make Knipple the face of the league. So now they're gonna need a point guard or maybe a guard to maybe teach the youngsters to come in. So I love that idea of Curry because I think Golden State's time is complete. They're gonna have to hit the rebuild button pretty soon.
You can't send Knipple though. Knipple has.
Oh no, you have to keep him there.
You got to keep him. Fastest player ever to 100 threes. This dude is an absolute deadeye. If you haven't seen this kid play when he was at Duke with Cooper Flagg or now in the NBA, He is just, I mean, when it leaves his hand, it's like that's money. Not Steph Curry-esque yet, obviously, but this kid can play. By the way, Kerr, Steve Kerr, said that he and Draymond Green have made up after Draymond Green stormed off the bench, went to the locker room, sat in there, pouted, then came out for the second half. And Raphael, he didn't put him back in the game. And he said there was no chance he was going back in the game. Has the, I guess, the toleration for Draymond Green also kind of, it's, to me, it's at its breaking point. I think even Warrior fans are tired of Draymond Green and his show.
I think it's at its breaking point because you know what's behind it? Losses. Before they were winning and they can maybe, like, you know what? Ooh, Draymond Green did that, but we won the game. This time he's doing his stuff and they're losing. So I think that's probably the biggest part.
Right now, they're the 8th seed in the West at 15-15. It's so, to me as a sports fan, it's really, really hard to watch sometimes when your favorite players, and it happens like every 10 years. Remember, you had in the 80s, it was Magic and Bird. Then you get to the 90s, it's Jordan. Then you get to the 2000s, it's Shaq and Kobe. Then LeBron comes in. Then you get to 2000. You know, it's like every 10 years there's a shift of power. And to get that shift of power, your stars have to fall off a cliff. That's just the way it goes. You rarely see a star play at that level and then retire at that level. And I think right now we're seeing with the Warriors and Steph Curry, he still had some great games this year. But other guys like Draymond and these other veterans, they're
Where's
just not
Jimmy
playing great
Butler at? Jimmy
basketball.
Butler's been
Thank you.
nowhere this year. I
Yeah.
think that's why we're getting games that Steph has put up 30 and he's shooting the lights out.
Yep.
But where is Jimmy Butler?
That's the question. And when you talk about one of the veteran stars, there's not a bigger superstar in the league than LeBron James, maybe of all time, comparing his star power to Michael Jordan. And LeBron now at 40 plus years of age, he led the team in scoring a couple of nights ago, but they lost by 24. And I think, Raph, when you look at a game like that, that's what happened last year for the Lakers in the playoffs. LeBron was exhausted. He had nothing left in the playoffs, and they whimpered to the finish line. Well, now the Lakers are 19-9. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. So their great start has kind of been halted a little bit. Austin Reeves did come back and scored 17, but tonight they welcome Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets, who might be the quietest, really good team in the West. I love the Rockets tonight. Am I crazy?
I didn't want to throw a red flag challenge flag on Christmas Day, but I think you are a little bit crazy because I have not been sold on what Houston has done lately. They lost to the Clippers last week or a couple days ago, 128-108. I think the final was. They let the
Yep.
Clippers score 128 points, and the Clippers offense sucks. They lost to what was the Kings,
The
and they
Kings, yes.
almost lost to the Pelicans. Oh no, they did lose the Pelicans in
They
overtime.
did.
Because I
They
had
did.
that live numbers. You made
Yes.
fun of me at plus 19.5 on our pop-up show. So I'm not sold on their play. We're trashing the Lakers, which is true. Their defense has been awful. I said the last 10 games, they're giving up almost 122 points per game. But on the other side, Houston has not played better lately as well. So I like the Lakers at home. This could be LeBron's last Christmas game, even though he said the other day, I hate playing on Christmas Day. I could see him blowing up. I love his 18.5 points per game over tonight. I think he has a big game.
He said he hates playing on Christmas Day, or he loves.
Yeah,
He hates playing on Christmas Day. Yeah, shut up. Every time I hear him complain about, I've had to play every Christmas Day since 2003. People that complain about Christmas Day, you don't do anything on Christmas Day. If you really think about what are you doing, and if you're a billionaire athlete, guess what? You can have all those hundreds of presents you're giving to your spoiled kids at any point, Raphael. At any point. The reason you're a billionaire athlete is because of Christmas Day.
Yep.
Is because these TV deals skyrocketed. So now you can make $55 million a year when you are 40 plus years old. So stop it. Now, it begs the question, how really good is this Lakers team? And how much do they need to monitor the playing time of a LeBron James? They've got a three-headed monster. They're a pretty good team, Raph, when they're completely healthy. But I wonder how much they're going to monitor LeBron James for the January to the playoffs, so that what happened last year does not happen again.
I agree. If this was December 26th, I would say yes, maybe you might limit, but this is Christmas Day. I think Luca plays today. This is a game for all games on Christmas Day. Everyone's watching it because you're gonna watch this or the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback that we have no idea who his name is. I
Oh
think the
my
Lakers have
God.
a big game.
Oh my, this is the same time. You're definitely watching this game.
Yeah.
You're definitely, with all due respect to the Chiefs and the Broncos. By the way, LeBron James, the all-time leading scorer on Christmas Day, by the way. I think this is the 23rd straight year. He's played all but 1 year, I think. I think he's played all but 1 year. All right, the final game tonight. This also could be a preview of, if not the Western Conference Finals, it could be the semifinals. Because last year, the Timberwolves did get ousted by the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Denver Nuggets, it feels like, Raph, are kind of creeping up on the end of this run with Jokic and Jamal Murray, and they've changed out a few pieces, but they're still a really, really good basketball team, but they're not the dominant team that we've seen in the past. So tonight, you've got them playing at home. Anthony Edwards loves to have the platform to himself. How do you see this one playing out tonight?
Yeah, they're the quietest 21-8 team, the Denver Nuggets, because they're playing in the same Western Conference as OKC, Minnesota, Lakers. I mean, they don't get talked about when you have the best player in the league, and that's the Joker. They get this game at home. They're 17-12 against the spread this year, and they lead the league in scoring. I was teeter-tottering. I love your underplay, but I'm going to wait because I think the public pushes just to 240 or maybe even higher, just because people are going to see, ooh, it's the last game. What do people do on the last game? They bet the favorite over, favorite over, favorite over. I'm going to wait to see how high this total goes. But I'm excited because I love me some big ball basketball, and we got Rudy Gobert versus the Joker tonight.
You love yourself some big ball basketballs. Okay, we have a lot of tongue slipping today. All right, the only reason I played the under, because you know me, if I'm watching a game, it's infuriating to play unders, but I've been falling asleep very early lately. I've been, I get up at 5 a.m. every single day. So I figured that I'm going to be asleep anyway. So just wake up and look at my phone and see another check mark. All right. So those are all the games. But Raphael, yesterday, because I'm always fascinated as we grow, and I can't imagine where we're going to be next year at this time or in 3 years at this time with a lot of the things that we want to do here at the brand with our multiple shows. But to expand, we're going to be needing to do a lot of things, and you're going to be a very important part of that. But you never stop, is my point. And you sent over some Christmas cross sports bets. And I want to put them up on the screen right now, because when you get these texts or emails asking for things like this, and the reason these are so important is to get people to come to the books to play them and then play other things. So these are what we call fun bets. But when you get the request, what's your initial reaction?
My initial reaction is, okay, what stars are playing in that day? Like, this started off LeBron James playing probably his last Christmas. What can I do with the NFL? Because don't forget, people thought he could be a tight end in the NFL. So I think that's how it all started. I think I had him versus Dak Prescott. TD passes, LeBron James total three-pointers made, because he's a three-point shooter now these days because he's old, versus Dak Prescott, who has two really good wide receivers that he can throw the ball. So that's how my mentality started. Then when I did that, I'm like, why stop? Because we know the Detroit Lions only had 15 yards of rushing last week. So let's throw in Jahmyr Gibbs rushing prop bet. So I have him with OKC points minus 150 versus Jahmyr Gibbs total yards. That's rushing and receiving. So it just went on and on for them. Because like I said, there's some really good games, but there's also some really good storylines in both the NFL and NBA. So even if you're not a bettor, I tell people, print these out, and while you're watching the game, just track it yourself, because it's a fun way to watch a game.
They really are. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do today. So I want to rip through these real quick, and we'll just very quickly give out what we would play. And for me, this is just a sprinkle. But let's start Thunder and God, it drives me nuts. My phone will not stop with Merry Christmas texts.
Oh yeah.
So I was just like, just stop. Just give me another 10 minutes. So the Thunder, now this is heavily juiced to the Thunder, because they're playing the Spurs, and they could score 130 or 140. It's possible. So Jahmyr Gibbs would have to get to that with rushing and receiving tonight. I'm going to lean towards the Thunder simply because the Lions deep or offense has not looked very good the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to go with the Thunder. What about you?
I understand that logic, but again, they looked so bad last week, and I think Montgomery and Gibbs have big games today. So I'll look at the plus 110. I might sprinkle some plus 110 on Gibbs plus
Write them
plus.
down. This is a competition, and I want you guys in the chat. What would you play? Write in what would you play so you can keep track and we can have a history. So you're going to go with Gibbs. Officially, I'm going to go with the Thunder. All right, next one. Jokic 3-pointers tonight against the T-Wolves, or the amount of sacks that the Denver Broncos will have in today's game against the Chiefs. Where are you going to go?
Oh, give me the plus money in this one. The reason why I made Denver such a big favorite on this one, because what are we going to hear on TV? The Denver are have the most sacks in the league. We're going to hear that 1,000 times during the game. But you know what? The Joker's playing the last game. He loves to shoot the three because he can't go down low because he hates playing against Rudy Gobert. So he's going to be stuck outside. I can see him shooting threes, maybe making 3 or 4 tonight. I like the plus 125.
I agree with you because I don't think the Broncos are going to get as many sacks as people think that they are, simply because of how Andy Reid is going to call that game. He's not going to give them the opportunity. So I too will go with Jokic. All right, the next one, T-Wolves first half points at plus 135, or Justin Jefferson total yards at minus 175. This is an interesting one, Raphael. Where are you going to go?
I'm going to go Justin Jefferson. I think he's the only target that you probably feel comfortable no matter who's the quarterback for Minnesota. So I think he has a big game. I think he does a lot of screen passes and short passes. I think the yak is the reason why this one goes over. I think yards per carry he has a big game on that.
I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go the T-Wolves because I'm thinking in my head, if they get to wow, I got to get some I got to get some plus money plays here, Raph. So if T-Wolves get to 60, I just don't think this backup quarterback from Minnesota can find JJ that many times. I just don't. I don't even know who this cat is. He threw for 50 yards last week. I'm going to go T-Wolves. First half points for me on this one, plus 135. All right, so we've disagreed on 2 of the 3 so far. All right, next one. This is a fun one. Cooper Flag rebounds at minus 120. Same juice for CD Lamb and his receptions tonight. Where are you going to go?
This is for the newly engaged guy in the chat that's a part of our crew who loves Cooper Flag. So give me Cooper Flag. I'll take it because I think George Pickens is wide receiver 1. I'm not going to take CD Lamb. I'm taking Cooper Flag.
Okay, so he had 9 rebounds against Denver. So the question is rebounds or receptions, correct?
Yes.
Just lost my full screen here. Okay. I'm taking this very seriously, to be honest with you. I love stuff like this. Man, if he's going to have a big game tonight. If he gets to 9 or 10, there's no chance. There's no chance. So I got to go Cooper Flag. Just when you think about the numbers, CD Lamb to get to 9 or 10 catches, that's on the high end. That would be a phenomenal game. Average game is 5 or 6. Flag's going to get more than that. So I'm going to go Flag rebounds. Okay. All right. LeBron James 3-pointers at plus 110, or Dak Prescott touchdown passes at minus 150. Where are you going?
I like the plus money. I like LeBron in this one, shooting 3-pointers. If this game was in Dallas, it's a totally different number and totally different story because Dak Prescott inside compared to Dak Prescott outside. I like LeBron James plus 110.
Yeah, I got to go with LeBron. He's probably only going to take 3 or 4. He hasn't been shooting a ton. But I'm going to go LeBron too, just because the max we're talking about with Dak would be 2. That's the max.
Yeah.
So we're saying, I'll bet that LeBron can make those. All right, Steph Curry threes as the Warriors are hosting the Mavs, or Jahmyr Gibbs receptions. Interesting.
I like Gibbs receptions. I think he gets 4 to 5 today on screen passes. I like it. I think Gibbs has a really, really big game with Montgomery today.
You really do. You've been all over Gibbs the entire show.
Yeah.
Man, this is hard for me because I have the Mavs as one of my best bets, getting 8. But I think Steph Curry is going to try to carry the team today. So I could see Curry getting to 6 or 7. So I'm going to go Steph Curry. Curry threes for me. I hope you're writing these down, Raph, because I am. Hope you remember. You're going to have to go back and watch this. All right. 3 more left, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. Jokic points minus 250. It's got to be a parlay piece. Or Jared Goff completions at plus 175.
I'll sprinkle a little bit on Goff. Lines went big. Maybe Rudy Gobert does control the Joker today. A lot of big wigs took the plus money on Minnesota already today, so they think the Wolves can win on the road. I would sprinkle something.
Wow. If he only gets like 20, this could definitely be in play.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to lay the 250. I don't want to put it in a parlay. So I'm going to go with you on Goff. Although, Jokic is going to go out there and score 45 and we're going to look like idiots. So, but it's better than laying the 250 and looking like an idiot the other way. All right. 2 more. Cowboys total points minus 175 or the Mavericks first quarter points plus 135. Both Dallas teams. I like this one. A lot of Cowboys and Mavericks fans will love to bet on this one. What do you like?
Yeah, that was another reason why I did that, because both Dallas teams were playing. I tried to do a little bit more. I like the Cowboys. I think I like the over in the game, so I can see them putting up 27 plus points in this one. I'll take the Cowboys, even though it's a horrible number at minus 175.
Mavericks against the Warriors. I can see 25 or 28. I'm going to go Mavericks. Just because if they have a really big, there's just so much energy on Christmas Day, and every team comes out of the blocks fast. So I'll take the Mavs first quarter points at plus 135. All right, last one: Broncos rushing yards at minus 120, or the Nuggets total points. Again, 2 Denver teams both playing today. Where are you going?
This one's probably the toughest one of all of it. I think this is the longest research one I did on this one. I'm going to lean towards the Broncos rushing, just because I think they're going to want to get a lead and then just get out of state. So I think to hand the ball off, and even Bo Nix rushing yards just to get out and get the W. So I'm going to take the Denver Broncos rushing.
That's super smart. And I'm going to take the same thing, because even though Bo Nix, and this is one thing you got to understand when you're betting guys on the NFL, recency bias is a very real thing. Bo Nix, 352 last week in the air, but they were behind the entire game against Jacksonville. It required them to do that. I do not think the Broncos, Raphael, will be behind this. I don't think they'll be behind at all, to be honest. So I'm going to, and they don't want to risk getting people hurt. So I'm going to go Broncos rush yards as well. All right. So 9 different plays. Have some fun. We'll look at all these. And so every single game, there's something that you can cheer on today. So it'll be a ton of fun. All right. So as we wrap things up, I thought it'd be appropriate, and we don't even need graphics for this, but I do want to hear the transition one more time. It's our 25th day. It is officially Coachmas. All right, Raphael, I'll give you the floor first. What is the final gift that you are unwrapping this morning?
I'm a little piggybacking what Tommy did yesterday. My gift is the gift that the chat gives me every time that I'm on, with all the questions I get from the chat, all the questions I get outside the show. People either DM me on Instagram or TikTok that watches the show to ask me for betting advice. That's what I do this job. I don't do this job just because I want to try to make the most money as possible or bet the most money. I try to educate and try to teach people what the books don't want you to know. So I am very thankful for the chat. They give me the gift every day that I'm on the show, and I want to say thank you to the chat.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same vein as you, that this morning I woke up with a lot of gratitude. We've worked really, really hard this year, but to me, what I've learned, Raph, is that when you're building your own thing, because I spent the first 20 some odd years of my career working for somebody else, and I still do that. But I got a lot of good advice a year and a half ago. And they said, if you don't start your own thing, eventually you're going to be cut out altogether. And I never could have imagined. And there's been bumps along the way. There's no doubt about that. But everybody has that. And the friendships, that's been the best part. But it's also been the most difficult part because as leading this group and figuring out where are we going, but we have one goal, and that is to become a viable brand and to supply as much entertainment for the people that follow us as possible. And I could not be more thankful for people like yourself who go above and beyond all the time. And you hear people say this all the time. Well, at the beginning, remember at the beginning when they get to here, we're going to get to here. It just takes a long time to get there. And that's one thing I've been reminded of. And so the journey for me has become incredibly gratifying. But the friendships that I have right now, I think will last me for the rest of my life. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. And also, my two beautiful children are watching right now. I don't know why they're watching right now, but they
Merry
are. So
Christmas, JJ. Merry Christmas.
yeah, Merry Christmas to them. They are the best things that have ever happened to me. There's no question about it. All right, Raph, I thought we'd go like 30 minutes this morning. I really did. And we're already over an hour.
I enjoyed every hour and 6 minutes we've got.
No doubt. No doubt. Everybody out there, we will be back live tomorrow morning as we look forward to a busy weekend in the NFL, a busy weekend in sports. Enjoy the games today. Enjoy your family today. Eat lots of leftovers. But at the end of the day, understand what it's all about. All right. That's going to do it for us. There's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your Christmas marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets, and I mean all of them, straight to the pay window. For my entire team, damn it, do I love them all. My guy, Raphael, producer man, my newly engaged Mikey P in the chat, and everybody that has contributed this year to this point. I am the coach, and we grind for you so we can win with you. That's what we're all about every single day, even on Christmas. This is Coaching Company. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.